Okay, turn in your Bibles to Exodus chapter 3, and we're going to look at verses 13 through 15. And I'll begin reading verse 13. Then Moses said to God, Behold, I'm going to the sons of Israel, and I shall say to them, The God of your fathers has sent me to you. Now they may say to me, What is his name? What shall I say to them? Now this is verse 14. God said to Moses, I am who I am. And he said, Thus you shall say to the sons of Israel, I am has sent me to you. Okay, the meaning of the name Yahweh is I am. In fact, when he says I am who I am, in effect what he's saying is I exist. No one created me. I am the creator. I created everything. Now let's look at verse 15 because this verse is very important. God furthermore said to Moses, Thus you shall say to the sons of Israel, the Lord. Now, all the letters in the word Lord there are capitalized. I know that's where the name Yahweh belongs, so let's put it there. I'm starting again at the beginning of verse 15. God furthermore said to Moses, Thus you shall say to the sons of Israel, Yahweh, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, has sent me to you. This is my name forever, and this is my memorial name to all generations. Now, the word forever, what does it mean? Well, obviously, forever means without end. But he doesn't stop there. He says, This is my memorial name to all generations. Now, in the New International Version, it would read, This is the name by which I am to be remembered from generation to generation. Here's a question for you. Yahweh is telling Moses these things thousands of years ago. Does forever include today? Absolutely it does. So Yahweh was God's name then, it's God's name now. When he says, This is the name by which I am to be remembered from generation to generation, doesn't that include us? Of course it does. Now, why was Yahweh telling Moses who he is by name, and to tell the children of Israel who he is by name? The answer is really very simple. In fact, if you read the book of Exodus through very carefully, you'll see that Yahweh is distinguishing between himself and every so-called God, especially those in Egypt. Because he's about to take them into the promised land. And in the land of Canaan, which is the promised land, that area is full of gods by other names. And he's establishing for all the people, all the children of Israel, that there's only one God, Yahweh. And that's his name forever. And they're not to confuse him with these other gods. Now, several years ago, I was explaining to a friend of mine that God's name is Yahweh. And this friend got very angry with me. And he said that couldn't be true. Because if it were true, he would have heard it a long time ago in church. This friend of mine was over 50 years old. And he had been attending church since he was a small boy. He had been a deacon in his church for years. And never once in his entire life had he ever heard the name of God mentioned in church. Now, what name did God say was his name forever? Yahweh. What name did God say we were to remember him by from generation to generation? Yahweh. And this friend had never even heard God's name in church. Do you see how wrong this is? The world is full of other gods even now. And they have other names. And what was true then is just as true today. There is only one real God. And his name is Yahweh. And the meaning of the name Yahweh is I am. And the fact that Yahweh's people don't even know his name is a tragedy. It is an error in the highest sense of the word. It is a true tragedy.